Good morning. Today we're going to have a roast beef dinner, and to start that off, this is on my mother's roast beef platter. I got it in an inheritance. We have to make our popovers. Popovers must be started early in the day because all of our ingredients have to come to a room temperature, and it gives us time to incorporate air into the mixing. So we have flour, salt, eggs, and milk. So what I'm going to start off with, and this will make 24 popovers, is I'm going to start with 1 cup of flour, and I should have measured that out before, but who doesn't like an action shot? Just a second. Where's the cup? There's a cup. 1 cup of flour, some salt, and I use some salt like that. Now when I'm on my game, I make sure that I mix the salt and flour together. Sometimes this just all goes in at once and can get lumpy, and that's not fun. We use 2 eggs. It took me 30 years to find out my mother used 2 eggs, not 1. And I said, well, that makes a difference. I use 2 eggs, and then it's supposed to be 1 cup of milk. So I will put in 1 cup of milk, wow, and a bit. Just a second. I didn't cut that right. So I also won this one in the inheritance. This is the Blue World egg beater that my mother always used, but she did switch later in life to a whisk, which does work quite well. So break up the eggs, get the eggs yolks broken up, and we just start stirring. And it's still not quite thin enough to be a popover / Yorkshire pudding batter. So now I'm going to go to the bit more than a cup of milk. So I would say 1.5 cups, maybe somewhere around there. And now we're starting to get to the thinness that we want. Now this, I'm going to move over to the sink, is the most important part. You take your container and turn on the water to cold. Not too fast, get it positioned right, and you're going to run your vessel underneath 1 time. 2 times if you're making a larger batter. But you make sure you add that cold running water before you add any more milk if you need to do the consistency. Crepe thin is a good description. Might even be just a bit thinner than crepe. So once that's done, and you're now going to leave this in the batter and put it off to one side for the rest of the day until cooking time. And every now and again you go by and you stir it. So start early in the morning, leave it on the counter, everything will then warm up to room temperature. Stir through the day, and then we cook later. Okay, so now we're getting close to our dinner, and our good friend Janet is here to help out, who has been in on the popover adventure for many, many years.
Many years.
Many years.
More than we can calculate.
Yes. So when Janet arrived, bearing gifts and alcohol, we forgot to film the part where we put approximately 1 tablespoon of oil / pan dripping / shortening, whatever you have, about a tablespoon in each cup. And I've put it in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes to really heat it up. So when these go in, they'll be sizzling. Okay, you can give this its final stir, Janet.
It's very important that the stir happens.
Heated muffins. And I think I made a mistake at the beginning because I said it was 24, but it was really probably 12.
18.
And now it's going to be 18. So give it that final good whisk And I say it's thin
Now,
and
what's
lovely.
in there?
Well, we did the whole recipe, but Janet, good question to ask. That's a good question. It's flour, salt, eggs, and milk. And if you go back to the beginning of the video, it tells you what's up, the approximate amounts of everything.
Excellent.
And as you say, most important. Now I'm not hearing a big sizzle on these, and I don't know why
No.
that is, but so I'm just gonna. It's just a sort of a rough thing. It's about, I'd say, a third full. And since we slightly miscalculated, I will now adjust to see if we can make those last 6 happen. And that's good. So
You got it.
if I was doing 24,
Perfect. You
I
have a
think-
good eye for measurements.
yeah. So then you can go back over these as you know, Janet, and then
And add the
top
rest.
off the little buggers that didn't get any. And I'm gonna
Now,
say,
what time of day did you start this?
well, if you go back
recipe?
to the beginning of the video, I was in my pajamas.
There you go.
And we've
Beginning
been
of the day.
and that was important. Now, Mr. Coulson, we must return these to the oven for their 30-minute baking time. Isn't that awesome?
Here we go. We'll just hope for the best.
I'd like a little more enthusiasm on the part of my assistant.
I think they're gonna be great.
Well, I was talking about the other guy.
Oh.
And you know what? Just cook the fucking popovers.
So welcome back. This is our final part of our popover making. All the other food is ready and the gravy, etc. And now we're going to take our popovers out of the oven. And now they've deflated a little bit, but they're still light and fluffy and beautiful. Ready to be filled with gravy and our roast beef, potatoes, carrots. We're just doing a casual dinner tonight, which is fantastic, but that is Popovers 101.